Captain Logan, and look, it's DJ!
I'm here!
Well,
I have a body.
More like I'm here, because we're at your house. Look, it's his legs! I had no idea what DJ's legs look like, and, spoiler alert, they're normal people legs. Oh. He's not on spindly legs. He's not like Mr. Freeze in the new Batman adventures, where like he gets decapitated and he's walking around on little spindly legs.
Darth Maul legs?
He doesn't have that going on. Is something wrong with your legs? Are you?
He's got. I just realized I have dog hair all over my legs.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what's new. That's what's different about DJ's legs, is that he just has perpetual dog hair. Anyway, I am at DJ's house, and that's why I said DJ. You know, the bigger deal is that I'm here because you live here.
I'm always here.
Yeah,
nothing special.
You're always here. We are actually in the room.
Never leave.
We're you've never been outside your door.
Outside.
Wow, we're gonna have to do that today.
We should try it.
Yeah.
Give me some sun.
Yeah, the first time DJ is gonna go out in Atlanta and sightsee is because I showed up. Wait, I live in a big city? I live in like a big cool city? I didn't even know that.
Yep.
Yeah.
They had to blindfold me when we moved here, so that I could just transport me right from the truck.
we did it like taking villains into the Batcave.
Yeah, that's what it was.
We just got sprayed with something, knocked you out, and then you got some bat wake when you came back.
Some bat potpourri. We just held it in a bowl.
Thanks for inviting me and letting me come down and hang out with you for New Year's. I'm so excited about it. I just got here last night. This is the first video we're shooting. This has nothing to do with what this actual video is about, so some of you guys aren't going to care at all about what we're doing right now. But we are shooting in the same room that DJ usually shoots the Captain Logan show in. So look, I'll just flip the camera this way. Look, see, like it's DJ's backdrop.
Right over there.
Can you see it? Yeah. We didn't shoot there because it's all backlit.
Yeah, we'll shoot there tonight. We'll do some stuff tonight.
But anyway, DJ and I thought we'd talk a little bit about Power Rangers, because we haven't done Morphomania in a good long time, and Power Rangers is kind of where DJ and I start together, and we are eventually going to finish that show. We've been talking about how we're going to come back and do it, and how exactly it's going to work, and we're figuring it out, and that will return. I don't know how much more of it we're doing, but that...
Yeah, the return of Morphomania.
We got to at least get through Mighty Morphin Era.
Yeah, I at least want to get through space.
Yeah.
And I love Lost Galaxy.
Well, I think if we're doing space, we probably should go all the way at least through Lost Galaxy.
Yeah, because Bulk's in that.
Yeah. But anyway, we thought it would be fun to just kind of reminisce and catch up a little bit about Power Rangers, because this is a thing that DJ and I haven't really talked about together in a good long time. We've been doing the Captain Logan show together for... you've been the regular moderator for that show now for half a year? Maybe a little more?
Yeah.
7 or 8 months?
At least 6 months, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So we've been kind of talking about everything but Power Rangers.
Yeah, it hasn't come up in the news, unfortunately.
Yeah, not much. Well, and ironically, it just did recently, but we haven't done a Captain Logan show since then. And let's start there. So Paramount is going to be making the new Power Rangers reboot. We're not getting a sequel to 2017, despite the fact that originally Hasbro put out a curious press release that claimed that they were doing that. So at first they just said, we are making a Power Rangers movie. We didn't know what it was. And then they seemed to be talking like it was going to be a sequel to that movie, and they were going to bring that cast back. Mm-hmm. And now the word is Paramount's doing it, which... It's hard for me not to immediately go, oh, great. Because Paramount is Transformers, and Paramount is Ninja Turtles, and we've seen how well those properties have done, and what they've done with them, and that's, you know, more Nostalgiaville, and stuff based on toys in the first place. Or at least with Ninja Turtles, was popular a lot because of toys. So now they're getting Power Rangers, and it's funny because I blamed Paramount initially for some of the things I didn't like about the 2017 movie with Power Rangers, and was reminded by a lot of people that Lionsgate made that. Now Paramount actually is making it, and their pitches, and I don't know why they've even given a premise already. Like, I wouldn't have done that. It honestly...
You must be really proud of it, I guess.
I guess... It reminds me of what happened with Ninja Turtles, because the first and only thing we knew about that was, it's gonna be aliens! And then everybody was like, that's terrible! And they went back to the drawing board. I wonder if that happens with this. I wonder if people scream at them enough that they, is the fan base gonna be, like rapid and angry enough about their pitch that they can get them to change it at the 11th hour?
Like everything Power Rangers.
I tend to agree with that. Yeah.
So what is the press?
So their pitch is It's teenagers from present day who go back in time to the 90s and get trapped in the 90s and have to find their way back to present day. I don't know what that has to do with Power Rangers.
Yeah,
Are they Rangers already? Do they come back in time and then Zordon chooses them from the future? I don't know.
That's weird. Yeah, because how would the Power Rangers' powers help them get back to the future?
Well, there's a lot of time travel in Power Rangers. I mean, I could see using the
Morphin
Grid to do something.
The White Stranger comes back.
Something, Morphin Grid. Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't expect anything you've ever heard of, besides the most obvious bare minimum. We watched the pilot again, because as soon as I hear that premise, I think, okay, once again, least common denominator. We're trying to appease everybody. We're trying to get general audiences on board with the thing just based on nostalgia. So it's like, 90s nostalgia is more in now. It's starting to overtake 80s nostalgia finally. We've been kind of waiting for this to happen. This is finally starting to happen. Mm-hmm. And so we got to be so on the nose about the nostalgia thing that we have to make it about going back to that time period instead of just making a thing based on a thing from that time period. DJ, if you're gonna do the 90s, just make it a period piece.
Yeah, just do the Captain Marvel thing.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool.
I don't understand. I wouldn't have any problem with that.
Set it like at a Bayside and do a what is that called? Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah, just have those kids. Those 40-year-old kids.
It could be obnoxious, like I thought Bumblebee was. In just like throwing, look, it's the 90s, everybody. Just throwing everything at you and like there's like 38 really obvious songs and that kind of thing. So, but they could be doing that anyway with this, right? Yeah, if it's gonna be in the 90s, just have it be kids in the 90s. And even though that's obviously a nostalgia grab, that wouldn't make it bad. You could do some really cool stuff with that because. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying surely they won't make the same mistake. This premise makes it sound like that they're not gonna get their suits till like 10 minutes before the movie's over, and surely they won't make the same mistake because that was the biggest complaint about the first movie.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't my complaint. My complaint was that when they finally showed it, it was bad. But
if it was like modern Rangers that got sent back in time, I guess you could do something cool with that. I don't know what the point would be exactly, because it's like, okay, we want to go to the 90s because that was the period when Power Rangers was popular, but then what would be the point of having like Rangers already that then go back to that time period? I doubt very seriously if that's what they do, right?
I don't know. It'd be cool if we just had established Power Rangers when it started.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. But I don't understand why they go to 90s. Nothing in the 90s nothing in the 90s actually adds to Power Rangers at all. Like, it's just when it happens.
It's just when it happens, yeah.
Something that actually...
Well, and I was going to say, I think you could maybe even do what I've always wanted better if you made it a 90s period piece, which is just make it exactly what it was, but with some actual dimension and some clearly established rules. So if you went and said, okay, it's set in 92, 93, and Jason's wearing the exact same thing he was wearing back then.
Cut off polo shirt. No sleeves and
Zach is breakdancing, and you do all the stuff that you have back then, and like Kimberly is kind of halfway a dance. Like you do all the same kind of, she's like blowing bubblegum. You have all the 90s stuff, but you give those characters a little bit of dimension, and you flesh out the mythology. That could be wonderful. It could be exactly what it was, except smarter now, which is all I've ever wanted. And that's not
upset about this if you can't.
It's all I've ever wanted. I just want fleshed out mythology. I just want some real concrete science fiction stuff. I mean, I guess Power Rangers has always been a blend of sci-fi and fantasy, and I don't mind keeping the fantasy elements. But in a perfect world, for me, Power Rangers would be 100% science fiction. Yeah. Because I've always thought that especially Zed, but even Rita, you could do as a science fiction idea.
And I like the fantasy more, so I would like it more like a John Carter type feel, where it's you're jumping planets and stuff, but the planets are just like monsters and
yeah. Well, yeah, but that's still sci-fi. It's just more light sci-fi, right? Like I just mean get all the magic out of it. I just mean have it all be science based.
Have the love potion anymore?
No, I don't. One of the things that getting rid of the fantasy, the magic does is it forces you, or at least it makes it it makes it harder to do it without being more concrete about the rules. What Magic always afforded Power Rangers was just in the moment we have whatever powers we need, and like again, you can have you can write poorly and still do that with science, but that was part of my issue always with Power Rangers was like I don't know how anything works. I don't know what we mean by power. I don't know what the Morphin Grid
to those who have the great power cap. All things are possible.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We can put our hands in a circle and heal anything.
That was very inspirational to me as a child. But you see what I mean? Like Zordon...
It's actually a very negative message. It's like only people with power and wealth.
Oh,
all things are possible for you plebes.
Yeah,
good luck.
That's what I said in the rewind. And then you have that kid that kind of saves the day at the end, and the message there was, well, maybe someday, little kid, you'll get power.
Well, it's all who you know, really, because he's friends with the Power Rangers.
That's exactly right.
So he got to do stuff.
Yeah, the two messages of that movie were the people on top make the rules. And we're gonna pretend like it's teamwork, but it's really just Tommy.
Tommy work.
Those were the messages of that movie. But I think Zordon and the Morphin Grid are kind of inherently science fiction ideas, and I've always wanted to see it go kind of more that direction.
Which they messed around with in the new show. I've only seen the pilot. Have you watched any more of this?
I've watched a little more. I like it.
Does it come back at all, or is that just kind of like
does one come back?
The Morphin Grid debacle.
Well, yeah, because I mean they haven't dealt with it a ton, but like I mean the Morphin Grid kind of just becomes the MacGuffin of the show because that's what the bad guys are after. Yeah. The big evil digital snake.
Evil digital snake.
Yeah, because he's from another dimension that's apparently like a digital dimension.
Oh, the digital dimension.
Yeah.
Like where the turtles went in season 6 of the 03 show.
Oh, I forgot all about that. Yeah, I've never actually...
season 7. Season 6 they go to the future.
Oh, I thought Fast Forward was the last thing they did. There's even a season after Fast Forward.
Season 7 that it's like really hard to find. They went back. It's called Back to the Sewer.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I've never seen that.
And then they did like a digital thing.
Because I always heard horrible things about Fast Forward.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like that huge tonal shift, and they actually changed this design of the characters and gave them eyeballs and stuff, which is like not a huge deal, but it's like icing on the cake.
Well,
it's weird.
but it's educational because what nobody knew is that if you go in the future, you get more dilated
turtles
pupils.
Have pupils.
Like, yeah, nobody knew that.
that's what we learned.
It gives you eyes. Yeah, the future gives you eyes. There's a very important life lesson there as well. Anyway, but. All I want is the material to be a little smarter. It can still be hokey and goofy, and it doesn't have to be realistic.
Yeah.
But like the 2017 movie gave us characters with a little bit more dimension, and then didn't know how to do the Power Ranger stuff.
I feel like
wasn't interested in the Power Ranger stuff.
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna know how to do the Power Ranger stuff.
Hopefully, or they won't do either of them well.
Or it could be a Ninja Turtles 2014, where it's just like they don't understand any
of it. Yeah, and because I think the big mistake you make is in trying to appeal too much to kids now. Do you agree with that? Mm-hmm. Like, I think you kind of have to
just... It's weird if they're going so nostalgia heavy, though.
Yeah. Like, I think they're going to do both at the same time.
Try to.
I mean, hopefully not. And we don't know a lot yet. Like, I don't mean to, like, negatively review the thing.
No, we are excited.
It's even been made. Like,
I
want to be excited,
yeah.
but I don't like that premise at face value. We'll have to see what it ends up actually being. But
it's so vague, though. Like, we don't even know if they're Power Rangers or not when they go back in time. Because it seems like if they go back in time to get their powers, and it's about them getting back, are they going to fight anybody? Like, what is going to happen?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why I say they might not do either very well. Like, it could be more like the 95 movie where they're just, like monkeying around for, like, an hour and 10 minutes, and then they finally morph at the end.
I don't want that.
No, I don't want that either.
Same thing with the Turbo movie. They're just on a trip the whole time.
Yeah.
They get there and fight the monster at the end. It's like a long episode.
Why do we have to do that with Power Ranger movies? Like,
that's kind of what we did.
Why can't we just make an epic?
That's kind of what it was with the new movie too. It was just a character trip. They weren't actually going somewhere, but they were finding themselves, and then they got the costumes at the end and did a crappy, quick sword fight.
If we couldn't get like really good character arcs, like a really good character-driven story, I would much rather just like bombastic insanity.
Yeah, just do just do the Mandalorian or
just give us
Skywalker, where they're just going around fighting everything.
That's what I was going to say. Is that Rise of Skywalker to me is a bad Star Wars movie, but a great Power Rangers movie. And I want to see them just insane, and ridiculous, and like a lot of quick cutting and fast paced editing.
Of that movie
is what a Power Rangers movie should be. That's exactly what I said when we reviewed it. And I would love something like the Cyclopsis, two-parter in first season, with like you remember the big head guy in the sky. His name is escaping me right now because it's been a while with Rusty. But like, remember how just insane and crazy Silverhorn.
I remember that.
Remember how insane and crazy that whole thing was, where it just felt like this big epic, but I did not understand anything that was going on, and I was like, well, if Rita can just come down on the planet and call this guy, why didn't she do that like a long time ago?
That's always Rita.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, if you're gonna go,
I don't need it to make sense
if
it's fun and wild and creative, just like visually, and action wise, like really fun and creative.
Yeah, I'm down.
But when I said
some really good fight choreography, don't get the John Wick guys, but get somebody.
No, do that. Do that. Make Power Rangers
Power slash Rangers, and nobody wants that. We've never talked about that.
We should. Yeah. Well, I was gonna put that in with the commentaries, but I was like, well, this is like 8 minutes long.
Yeah. We could do a quick.
We're not gonna have
or something.
anything to say about it. I mean, we're not gonna get to say anything in the amount of time.
We should watch that while you're here, though, because I haven't watched it in a long time.
Yeah, we could try to do a video on that if we've got time.
Yeah.
a little late now.
No one cares about our thoughts on it. 8 years. What is it, like 8 years old?
It's been a while, yeah. No, I mean, but it would be fun to get those guys to come in and choreograph it, but not to throw in like a whole bunch of like drug references and things.
Or knives going through people.
Yeah.
Don't give the Power Rangers knives. They just have sparks. They don't need. That's what I think. I guess we're talking about it. Power slash Rangers drove me nuts because Zach was like shooting people with guns and stuff. I'm like, this is so stupid.
It's been so long since I've seen that, but
yeah, has guns. It was dumb.
Well, that always begs the question. That kind of thing always begs the question: what was the point of morphing in the first place?
Yeah, he morphs and then he takes their guns and shoots them all.
If you just needed a mask, you could just wear a mask.
Yeah.
I guess it's just the convenience of not having to change somewhere.
Maybe he's the Raph from TMNT 07.
Yeah.
Where he becomes the Knight Rider. I could see that work. I could see him becoming like the vigilante guy. If he went dark, which is what they made him do.
You talking about Zach?
Yeah, I guess
that's a cool idea. Make it like Night Watcher.
Night Watcher.
That's
it's not
Night Watchman. It was Night Watcher.
I haven't seen that movie forever either.
It's funny. We've been at this about 20 minutes, and we've talked about Ninja Turtles about a quarter of the time.
Sorry, we both like Ninja Turtles too.
Well, there's obviously always a lot of parallels. Speaking of Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers, I did read the first issue of the crossover that just came out. It's fine.
The crossovers are always fine, it seems like.
Yeah, it's kind of just exactly what you would expect. It's just it's pretty much just for the novelty of putting those characters together.
Is it Waltz and the new Power Rangers?
It's not. No.
But is that continuity though, or is it just random Ninja Turtles?
It's random Ninja Turtles, which is better though, because Power Rangers is a fun place to do interdimensional because we do that all the time, and obviously we did Shattered Grid recently, or somewhat recently, but I always like it when you do a crossover where we don't have to spend a bunch of time dealing with how the crossing over actually happened, between dimensions, and this does the same thing Space does, where the Ninja Turtles are just already in that universe. Moreover, the Ninja Turtles designs are somewhat based on what they looked like in that. And so...
Next Mutation?
Yeah, little bit. And like, it's not straight up Next Mutation because they don't have Venus and stuff, but they do... So they try to make it look like edgier looking 87 suits, so they still have their letters on their belt buckles.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of fun.
Do they have like knee wraps that go all the way down their shins?
I can't remember, but they had a little bit more going on with the fabric than you usually have with Ninja Turtles.
Do they go like boing when they get up out of the couch or something and fall down?
No, they didn't do anything like that. But they've got Tommy infiltrating the Foot Clan like Kino in Ninja Turtles 2.
That's cool.
And that's
he tries out?
That's kind of fun. Yeah, the Rangers are fighting the Foot Clan, and Tommy is in the Foot, like one of them, like Raphael or somebody, rips off his mask and it's Tommy.
That's amazing.
And they try to fake you out, like, oh, maybe Tommy went dark and he's a foot soldier, and, like, nobody's gonna fall for that, but,
yeah.
And then I guess he's just infiltrating for some reason, we don't really know yet, but the art's decent, it's fun, it's off to a better start than Justice League Power Rangers was, so that's good, which was awful, ultimately.
Is it in the Power Rangers continuity, though?
I don't think it is.
Oh, it's just cool. Okay, that's cool. I like it.
Well, I guess I'm not sure, like, it plays in the moment like it could be, but they don't reference it like some of the other IDW crossovers will reference things. Like, Ninja Turtles Batman, as far as I can tell, kind of maybe happens. I guess I'm actually not totally sure about that, but the Ninja Turtles do reference Ghostbusters sometimes, where that definitely happened, and I think maybe even the X-Files one.
Okay.
But I can't remember.
Oh, that's cool.
They've crossed over with everything. And I saw a solicitation recently for Transformers and Terminator.
I did. Someone posted that in the Secret Society.
Yeah. So that's happening because they like to cross Transformers with everything, whether it makes sense or not. And that I could totally see a potential story with, but they'll cross it with anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
Although the Transformers Star Trek animated series crossover was pretty cool because they did it in the animated series style.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that was fun. That was kind of a stroke of genius, I thought, because like when I first heard they were doing that, I was like, well, I guess you could kind of do something cool with it. And it was like, no, they're doing G1 and animated Star Trek, and I was like, well, that's perfect. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, let me know how the rest of that turned out. You said you only read one issue.
Only the first issue's come out. I think it was last week.
I'm interested to see how that goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else has happened in Power Rangers lately? Have you played the PS4 game or that Switch game?
I've got it on Switch. I haven't played it a ton. There are more characters that have come out since I started. I don't think I did a review on it, but I talked about it on Captain Logan Shore somewhere and complained about the roster being too small. It starts with just 9, and 3 of them are comic characters that nobody's going to know if they haven't read comics. That was kind of irritating. Zed is in there now. Freddy has played with the new characters. I have not. So
it's on your Switch, right? It's downloaded?
Yeah, we actually could. We could have played it before we did this video, but I didn't even think about it.
We should play it. Maybe we film while we play it. We can talk about. I don't know if I have anything left to say about Power Rangers at that point. But yeah, I definitely want to play it because I haven't played that game yet. I've only played the
You haven't played it at all?
game yet.
Yeah. It's cool. It's got more depth than you would expect for kind of a budget game like that.
Yeah. And I recently saw
it
at
a lot.
Best Buy, but it was like $60-something.
Really?
It was ridiculous.
I'm surprised by that.
I almost bought it on Black Friday, but it was just outrageous. It wasn't on sale or anything.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna pay that for it, but I would like to have it physical because I like to have physical copies of things when I can get them.
Me too.
And I thought it was kind of sad. Yeah, I thought it was kind of sad that they didn't put that out physical in the first place. But then it made it cheaper. It was a little bit easier for them to make it a budget title that way. I'm sure because I think it was $20 in the first place.
Yeah.
But with the understanding that they were going to have a lot of DLC. And I don't know how many characters they're up to. I think it's, like 15 or something.
Okay. So maybe, I mean, even if you've been buying the DLC, maybe it's about $60 anyway at this point.
Yeah, maybe so. But it's fun. The music is really generic, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, especially with Power Rangers. That's the one thing. Even the people who who were too old when Power Rangers was out, they can all say that song is awesome. And Ron Wasserman's music is awesome.
Well, and that's the thing, is if you've got the rights to everything, like, if you're going to have really generic music, just throw Wasserman in there. I don't know why you don't just use tracks you got already. Like, I'm sure some people will complain you didn't do new music, but it's better than nothing. It's better than stock music.
Maybe that's the only reason.
Which is what they have.
To the 90s in the new movies, so they can feel like that music's appropriate again.
Yeah, but they won't do it right. See, what I'm worried about is that they're going to try to make it like a culture clash thing, where it's going to be like, oh man,
phones are huge.
Yeah, but man, kids were so dopey in the '90s, and like they'll have jokes about slang we use now that they didn't have back then. So somebody will say lit, and nobody in the '90s knows what lit is, and then ha ha ha. I don't want it to be the Brady Bunch again, and that's what I'm kind of worried it's gonna be. Well,
Brady Bunch reunion.
I mean, Isn't that great? Isn't that great? There's actually a Power Rangers reference when I said Brady Bunch. Like, I guess it's not exactly the same thing, because that was when they did the '90s Brady Bunch movies, and they were tongue in cheek, and they were kind of fun, but it was like a family that somehow never got out of the '60s. It wasn't like a time travel thing. It was just, it's the '90s, but they somehow never noticed. So it was like exactly the same thing as something like
me.
Yeah, exactly. It was something like the Addams Family or something, where he didn't even realize that you could download things. DJ, like, he just orders things from Amazon because he can't leave his house.
Right to my house.
Yeah.
He brings them right into the door because I don't want to go outside of the front porch.
Yeah. So he knows about e-commerce, but he doesn't realize that he can just like download a game on his system.
This is an interesting new development about Geekvolution DJ. It's going to go on the wiki.
He just spends all of his time watching his physical media and welding. And that's all he does.
Just welding in the basement.
But the reason I say I'm kind of worried that it's going to be like the Brady Bunch, but it's going to be like, look how antiquated and cheesy and old-fashioned the '90s were.
But can you even really do that now? Because it's like the '90s stuff is all in right now. Kids are wearing fanny packs all over the place. Do you see this?
Yeah, and Target is trying to sell kids Pogs, which is clearly not working. Every time I see the display of Pogs, it's like they never sold one. There's not one.
That's weird.
At my Target that has sold. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. I've never. These Pogs completely missed me. They're before my time.
I'm sorry. We just went over this, but of course you've not seen that. You don't leave your house.
That's right. Target. What's a Target?
But anyway, I don't know. I'm having a hard time getting excited about that premise.
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't even look it up. You told me about it, and I was like, oh. Of course, your bias was really showing when you told me about it, so maybe I'm been influenced by you.
Dude, you would have felt the same way, I'm sure.
No, I hate time travel in anything, so I'm really bummed that they're doing that.
I think there is a honest-to-God serious epic to be made out of the mythology of Power Rangers. I've always thought
Well, the first 5 minutes of the last movie was so awesome, and that could have been a whole movie.
It could have been, yeah. It's exactly the same thing as Man of Steel, where it's like, just give me the Krypton movie.
Yeah. Give me the Eltar movie.
Yeah, exactly.
No one would know what it is, and it would make $5. It'd just be me and you.
See, that's the reason it won't get made. But all you would have to do is market it right. Like I think the Power Rangers fan base would go. Like if you market it right, they would understand what it was. Mm-hmm. And then all you got to do is make it look like this great sci-fi epic, because science fiction is back in a big way, and you might be able to get more people to go. But I don't know. You just got to do it right.
Money on it as you would probably like, but
Well, no, that's true, yeah. And I'm with you. I don't know that it would sell, but I'm just saying in a perfect world, that's what I like. And I don't need it to be a movie. I wish that's what we've done in comics. Like, I like the I like the Boom Power Ranger comics okay. I think they fell off around Shattered Grid. And even Go-Go I don't think is quite as good as it used to be. And I'm bummed about it. Let me mention this. I'm bummed about it right now because we jumped forward in time after all the Shattered Grid Aftermath stuff, and we went to season 2 with White Ranger and Zed.
Oh.
And in 40, we introduced Zed, and the new Rangers are there, and of course I'm all excited because I'm a big Zed fan. We wrote him out in 5 issues.
Zed?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, we spent years on Rita, and they do not care about Zed, and they just had him there because that's where he is in that time period, and then they replaced him with a different villain. And he's been replaced with, get this, like an evil doggy.
Doggy from SPD?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't understand.
That seems like...
Or just like a doggy-looking guy, like he's from that race or whatever.
Okay. I don't know what they're called, yeah.
I don't either.
But yeah...
I don't know SPD that well.
Oh, that's not where I thought you were going with that. I thought you were going in a positive direction, because that seems like what you would do with a Power Ranger show, is you would, like, jump around. You have all these seasons that you can do.
Yeah.
Tell stories and just jump to the next season, tell some stories there, and jump around.
No, it hurts my feelings. Like, I kind of don't care right now.
Ah, that sucks, man.
Because, they finally got to Zed. He's my favorite villain. And the first time they showed you Zed at all in those comics, it was awesome. They did it in an annual or a special. I think it was an annual where it was your standard annual where it had like 5 or 6 different stories, and the Zed story was only 8 pages, but it was so good.
Yeah, man, that's a bummer.
And it was some early origin stuff. I think him bringing in Goldar in the first place or something. It's been a while, I can't remember, but it was, and the art was pretty, and I don't know, it was so good. And they clearly don't care about Zed, unless he's going to get some kind of like big awesome reveal later where he comes back in some big,
yeah, maybe
gravitas something, but I don't know.
But no, like what you were saying before about the about Zordon story, there's actually so much stuff to fill in there. There actually are answers for a good prequel there, like all that stuff. Like we don't even know how he and Alpha met, or if he made Alpha.
Exactly. I think a lot of the reason that that I've always wanted that is because I want that mythology fleshed out.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a couple things. I think about in early Zordon story a lot because I've always liked the Krypton stuff even more than I like Superman. And I think there are direct potential parallels between Jor-El and Zordon. Mm-hmm. And I think you could do some really cool Krypton-esque stuff with Zordon and Eltar. But I also but I also go back to Andalite Chronicles from Animorphs, which is the best thing that K.A. Applegate wrote for that series, and it's just the prequel back matter stuff. But it's a great sci-fi epic, and it remains one of my favorite books. Like, wow. It's really good, and I think that treatment should be done with Power Rangers. So years ago, I started outlining what I would do with Reboot, which is not a thing I do with a lot of with stuff. I'm always weird about fanfic. I don't want to be like a fanfic guy, generally speaking, because obviously you're never going to get it made. It's never going to be official, and it's hard to get anybody to care about fanfic, right? Yeah. But I had some really cool ideas, and so I started writing it down, and I wanted to do some kind of like a fan comic project because I loved what I was coming up with so much. I was like, okay, this has to be something at some point. This was back in 2012. I've never done anything with it. Wow. And Dan and I fleshed out a bunch of stuff. Dan's not even a Power Rangers guy, but I threw some of my ideas at him. He was like, oh, that's cool, and he started helping me flesh it out.
Cool.
And my whole thing had this whole religious undercurrent that it wouldn't have had if it weren't for Dan. Mm-hmm. But I thought I'd tell you about some of it. Yeah, if you want to know about it. I've never talked about it on camera. Yeah. I've threatened for years to do this, and I don't think this might be a cool place to do it. Definitely. If you're cool with it.
I'm down.
Maybe someday I will finally sit down and write this just so it's out there, and if anybody cares about it. I've thought about doing just like quick pitches for things because I thought it might be fun to finally start doing something like what Eric was doing with
Let's Do It Again?
With Let's Do It Again, yeah. Because I did one of those with Eric with Ghostbusters, and it was so much fun.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I thought about maybe doing a few solo ones where it wouldn't be Let's Do It Again where it would be like you pick, is it a reboot, is it a sequel? It would just be like, what would my take be on a thing? Like if I was gonna redo something from the ground up, if I was going to do my adaptation, what would it look like? And so I don't know. This is going to be somewhat scatterbrained, so maybe down the road I'll do this again with Power Rangers and flesh it out some. But I'll tell you a few ideas that I had, just kind of scattered ideas. I had all of this stuff for what the mythology is and what the Morphin Grid is, and never really got to the Power Rangers part because I got so mired in just and again, like, not back matter in the sense of, well, just here's all this cool background that you would use in Power Rangers. Like, I think there's a real story here. And I was a lot less interested in the Power Rangers than I was in Zordon. And it's funny you mentioned Alpha, because I had a whole thing with Alpha, too. But, so my idea was that the Power Rangers start as like the military. So on Eltar, you have a bunch of different provinces, and they're all guarded by a police force that is each of a different color. And they each have power coins in order to morph into police officers.
Oh, kind of like that Matt Damon movie, The Wall, that you guys reviewed, where weren't they like separated by colors?
Yes, they were. I thought of that. I was like, this is so Power Rangers. Yeah, The Great Wall. Isn't that? Was it The Great Wall? Wasn't that movie? A lot of people didn't like that. I like that movie.
Yeah, it's kind of pretty bad reviews.
You should watch it. I thought it was
I've
pretty
never
good.
seen it.
I thought I really like the female lead in that. I want to see her in other stuff because she's apparently a big Chinese actress, and she was awesome in that. I keep wanting to see her in stuff. But anyways, so each province has a police force that's represented by a different color, and they each, and it wouldn't just be 5. It's like there are dozens of them. But later on, when Eltar explodes, because you have to blow it up because it's Krypton, when Eltar explodes, the only surviving power coins are the 5.
Oh.
And so there were all of these, because one question I always had was, why only 5? Why don't you just make some more? I don't understand that. You had hundreds of them.
And that makes sense.
And now there's
find a 6th one later.
Now there's only 5, yeah, and I also have a plan for where the green one goes, and it is Rita, and I had that before the movie did it, but and see, part of the problem is we have attempted somewhat pseudo-series Power Rangers for the last several years in comics and in the 2017 movie, and part of the reason I never wrote this is because I was like, well, we're finally doing it, so what's the point of my thing? But we've never done it the way I want to see it done. And I don't mean like exactly my ideas, I just mean it's never had quite the character dimension and dramatic flair I think it could have. Go-Go absolutely does, but as more of like a Buffy teen high school drama. There are places where the comic series gets really close. It just never quite sticks the landing as far as the rules. I just never totally understand how everything works, and so I don't know. I still think we can do it better, but that's why I never brought this up, because there's a bunch of things that have kind of tried it. So anyway, you've got. So obviously these police forces also have Megazords, and all of these things are designed by Zordon in the first place. And Zordon is a scientist who is a little bit arrogant, he's a little bit full of himself, and that's why he uses his own name and he names the Zords Zords, because his name is Zordon. And he he's a little bit arrogant because all this stuff exists because of him. And the Morphin Grid is kind of like the Phantom Zone, where it's this like energy thing that he tapped into that nobody knew about before. Like he found it. And what we would discover later is that the Morphin Grid is basically an energy barrier that ties the multiverse together. That's what the Morphin Grid is, and the reason that, because Power Rangers has always done different dimensions in some way or another. You got the dark dimension, so I felt like I had to work in the interdimensional thing, and here in a second I'll get into why it has to be interdimensional. But anyway, so and like obviously I would want to flesh out more of the rules of it and stuff, because that's very important to me. Yeah. But anyway, so he's also got Zords, and they are based on dinosaurs because the Eltarians are dinosaur worshippers. They worship dinosaurs, and they have the same thing Earth does. This is very important. Keep this in mind. The dinosaurs were wiped out by a meteor. And when the dinosaurs were wiped out, the Eltarians believed that they ascended to another plane of existence and that they became gods. Or maybe they were gods in the first place. I'm not sure exactly what it is. But they worship dinosaurs. And so each province is represented by a different dinosaur god. And that's why the Zords are dinosaurs. They only...
It's like Black Panther.
Yeah.
That's cool.
They only make Megazords when there is a galactic threat from somewhere else in space or some other like global threat that requires multiple provinces to come together. Mm-hmm. So they're usually the saber-toothed tiger village would be protected just by the saber-toothed tiger, but if there were a whole bunch of villages that were all in danger, then the police forces would get together and they would make Megazords. And so that's why the Megazord is a thing.
So it's like the later seasons where you can probably mix and match different Zords to different Megazords. That's cool.
Yeah. So I always thought that was a neat idea.
Unless there's a province here that only has like hands, they can't join together.
So you have there is one province that is like destitute and is thought of as lesser, and that the government of Eltar basically ignores, and that's where Rita lives. Rita is an Eltarian in my version, and she is a worshipper of dragons. And they don't believe in the dragon god. And so they oppress her people. And they create the Dragon Zord.
So she has a whole province?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
And so she steals technology from the Eltarians in order to create the Dragon Coin, and in order to build the Dragon Zord. And eventually there's like a coup and there's like a conspiracy, and she teams up with the man who will be Lord Zed in order to try to take over Eltorn. And she is basically General Zod.
So he's like this dark, like, alien figure that she, like, because I'm assuming he's not from Eltorn.
Well, so I haven't quite... And I don't have my notes with me, so it's been a little while. I went back and forth on that. I had a couple of different ideas with Zed. I thought of Zed as just another Eltarian, and maybe even do like the Drell Zod thing where he at one time was Zordon's best friend. I don't know if I would want to go that far, but that was a notion I had. Yeah, having him come from space and being this figure that she's in contact with that nobody knows about, like this mysterious figure in the background, that's another way to go. But importantly, whatever Zed is in the first place, he is as much of a dragon worshiper as she is. He believes in the dragon god, and when there's a big war with Rita's people, that's when he gets all his skin slashed off. So he doesn't start that way. He loses it all. And he is put back together by Alpha 5. And so Zordon also builds alphas, and the alphas are basically like house robots. They're like given to each house to like cook and clean and do stuff for them.
Like he's Dobby.
Yeah, they do like a bunch of different things for them, and the alphas are programmed.
You've given alpha a suck.
They're programmed to be pacifists and to be all about life. And I wanted to do a whole thematic parallel with Alpha and Zed, where Alpha is about beginnings and Zed is about endings. And so it's like an Alpha Omega thing, because Alpha means beginning and Zed is the end of the alphabet. It's the end.
That's clever.
When Zed,
this guy.
so we have this big war, And Zed calls for outside reinforcements in order to help bring down Eltar, which ultimately will result in the destruction of the planet. If not the destruction of the whole planet, the destruction of civilization, which will end up with the power coins being thrown out into space or buried somewhere or whatever it is. And he finds out in space a planet of Goldars.
Oh.
And Goldar
Flying
is...
Goldars, or does he add that, like in the show?
One of them flies. So our Goldar is... And this is the thing I fleshed out with Eric a long time ago. So some of these ideas, Dan helped me flesh out, and this one was kind of all Eric. Eric came up with this idea of, and I love this, of the planet of Goldars, where... the only Goldar, and I don't know what their actual race is called, but the only Goldar that is called Goldar is their leader, and you have to be considered the greatest and the strongest and most cunning and the best to lead, and that makes you the Goldar, and you're called Goldar, and you're the one with wings, and that's our Goldar. He's the leader of the whole race, and they come down and they're extremely powerful, and they take out the planet, and they murder a bunch of people, and they try to take over, but I don't know if they're just like really into like destruction and carnage, or if they want to destroy the planet for its resources. I don't know what exactly the Goldar race is about, and I don't know if Zed does that intentionally, or if the Goldar is if you can't control them. I don't know what exactly that is.
When do they steal
but...
all the gold and melt it down and resurrect their giant
well, that doesn't happen
Paperman.
because that's dumb.
So stupid.
But I did kind of like Eric's idea of a planet of Goldars.
No, that's cool.
I thought that was kind of a neat idea.
Goldars, baby Goldars, and but the real question is, do they go home and take off their armor, or is that part of their body?
You know, maybe it's a mystery. We're like the Mandalorian. We'll just never know. We'll just never see their face.
Can never take off his helmet.
Oh, okay. You know what? I'm sorry. I just because Zed has a particular ideology, and so yeah, he actually is wanting to. I remember this now. He actually is wanting to destroy Eltar in the first place. And I don't know if he and Rita's goals are exactly aligned, or if she's just wanting to take over. I think for her it's my people were oppressed and I want to get even. And for Zed it's I'm a religious zealot on a mission. Zed, and he won't be called Zed in the first place. He'll take that name later after he gets his skin all ripped off.
Yeah, his adamantium skeleton.
Yes, that Alpha gives him. Zed is...
You will have no memory.
Zed believes that he has been called by the dragon god to destroy everything.
Because he's the end.
He is the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
he's British,
and
so he calls himself Zed instead of Z!
Yeah, exactly. He's got to have a British accent. That's important. So he wants to...
Any accent, really.
He wants to end all life because the dragon god is so wonderful and so supreme that it is supposed to be the only thing in existence. Mm-hmm. And everything else is a blight on the universe. And he is the acolyte of the dragon god. And presumably he thinks the dragon god will spare him at the expense of everyone else.
I was going to ask, is he going full tilt? Like, is he going to... Does he think
like he's going to sacrifice himself? I'm not sure. I never quite got that far. But I did like this idea of Zed of taking the idea of the end to its furthest extent. Zed wants to destroy everything in the galaxy. Okay, so in the middle of
like all Power Ranger villains.
Yes, but with a purpose, with kind of an actual reason, right? And we're not wondering. Okay, does he want to? I think I spilled that. We're not like, does he... Should we clean that up?
Yeah, we'll do that for video.
It's not like, does he want to...
No editing here.
Does he want to destroy the world, or does he want to rule it? He wants to destroy it. Oh, no, and that would be fun. Rita wants to rule, he wants to destroy, and that's why they're at loggerheads. That's what it should be, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Zed and...
Everybody.
And he gets his staff built somewhere. I don't know if that's also Zordon technology. I don't know what exactly.
He has to get that after he gets his name.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like he gets one on his head. It's gonna be like the Dr. Manhattan thing where.
Oh yeah, and once we finally get to Earth, there should be a joke from someone where somebody's like, "Is that like evil Zorro? What is that?"
He turns over to Finster. I want a costume. I want a bloody costume.
I want an effing costume. Okay, so anyway,
the first F word in Power Rangers.
In Power Rangers, yeah, it won't be Power/Rangers, but we'll get as close as we can get. So, what ends up happening is in his big battle with the Altarians and with Zordon. Zordon, because I don't know what exactly it is, but like I got to come up with some reason for Zed to have like personal stakes with Zordon, and maybe he blames maybe Rita blames Zordon for some of the oppression because they don't get the technology that the rest of the Altarians get. But like, if he's just a hired scientist, I don't really know why he would be at fault with that. So I gotta flesh that out. I'm not sure what exactly that is yet. But anyway, in the big battle, Zordon is like fleeing for his life, and he's trying to keep the morphing technology out of their hands, right? And so but of course these power coins are everywhere, and so like he's not going to be able to fully keep that from happening. But something, he gets trapped in a time warp, right? Like we have to do that, and what I'm thinking it is sort of like intentionally throwing yourself in the Phantom Zone, where he, in order to try to survive and thinking, okay, I have to take my knowledge with me to later try to stop Zed, but there's like nothing I can do about it now. So he basically puts himself in the morphing grid. Oh. But
does he get trapped in one of those things from KB Toys that you put your hand in?
No, it's still gonna be a tube, because it's gotta be a tube.
That was a cool effect, but
no,
I would stick with the tube.
It was fine, but I would stick with the tube. Yeah. So he's basically converted into pure energy. He gets thrown into the morphin grid, kind of the Phantom Zone, and he's pure energy now, and he doesn't have any way to reconstitute himself. So Alpha, in realizing that Zed is completely against his programming, is going to later on, of course, team up with Zordon, and I'm not sure how exactly to get Alpha on the other side. That's the thing I've not figured out yet. But basically, and I'm going to go ahead and just give away my coolest plot twist.
Spoiler alert.
Someday I want to write this, but I'm going to let you guys know what it is in case anybody is still watching 50 minutes into it.
You heard it here first, kids.
And I think this is a really neat idea. Eltar will turn out to be a counter-Earth. Eltar is Earth.
Oh, it's like a Planet of the Apes thing.
Yeah. Well, and so, sort of. Yeah, so when he...
actual Earth.
Kind of backwards. But yeah, so he goes... Zordon is... in the morphing
see, they find the juice bar at the end, and he's like, no!
No. But in the morphing grid, as pure energy, he's able to look out through the cosmos and see everything. He can see everything that's going on. And he doesn't have any way to reconstitute himself, and he doesn't have any good way to really communicate with... And what I'm thinking probably happens is there's maybe... He maybe comes up with a way to, like... I don't know if he possesses technology, I don't know what exactly happens, but eventually he'll be able to, like, talk to Alpha and get the command center built. Mm-hmm. But, the Earth he goes to is going to be, of course, where the Power Rangers initially end up starting. And Zed, I don't know where Rita goes, I don't know what happens with Rita.
She's in a dumpster.
I don't know how she gets there. But
she just trips.
But the whole... I mean, like maybe she actually gets beaten by the Altarians during the battle. So like that's the big thing the Altarians managed to accomplish is they get her in a barrel and then they send her off in space. I don't know what exactly happens.
Or maybe Zed can betray her and like.
Oh yeah.
Actually, be the one because he's the
that
one.
Because he's yeah, but why wouldn't he just kill her? Because he wants to destroy everything. Mm-hmm. So you'd have to figure that out.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Zed wants to destroy all things. And when he discovers there's a multiverse, He's got
like,
no
well, crap,
kill.
my to-do list just got much more full.
So he destroys every planet in their dimension.
Yeesh.
And then he comes to ours. And
so he's just gonna go dimension hopping on the back of the dragon.
Yes. And what I'm thinking is...
It makes sense why he makes Serpentera if he believes in dragons.
Oh! Exactly. I know. I know. That's part of why I did that. Yeah. So then, remember I told you that that Zordon is really kind of arrogant and full of himself, and he still has he still has the same belief structure he does in regular Power Rangers, because he's really arrogant about his technology and about his rules, and he thinks that everything's always going to work out in the end if he's just basically pacifistic. So he still has that. Like, remember, he did not start that war. Like that's important. Like Zordon never starts a fight. He only finishes them when it's absolutely necessary. But one of the big mistakes that will happen with Zordon's hubris is he will hand-pick Tommy, because Tommy is his direct ancestor.
Oh, nepotism going on.
Yeah, because it's a counter-Earth, and so there was a Zordon on our Earth too.
Wait a minute. So that means you're getting rid of Tommy's Native American background? Because I can't do it. I can't deal with that. He has to go back in time.
Zordon can also be Native American, Paris. Maybe that's the province he's from. So now I guess if I'm doing that, it means that it's a counter-Earth, but also farther in the past.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that. I'd have to figure that out. But
yeah, so they have to be closer to the dinosaurs' extinction than we are.
Yes. And I haven't figured out much about the actual Power Rangers themselves, except I like the idea that Tommy is like actually goes dark in the first place. Like, it's not mind control. And he was the wrong pick. And, like, maybe he redeems himself, but, like, he was a bad choice and was only picked because of his bloodline. I think that's kind of a cool idea.
And so maybe stays bad? Or you said he could redeem himself?
He could redeem himself, yeah, I don't know. But also...
Maybe redeem himself right before he dies and then kiss Rey and...
But also in my version, because I always thought this was important, the Power Rangers would not all know each other, they would not all live in Angel Grove in the first place, they would all live in different places, and it would be like Captain Planet, where they're from different regions, and because they have teleporting technology, they don't have to live in the same town. There's no reason they have to live in the same town.
It would make sense that Zordon would set it up that way, because that's how it was originally. They're all different sectors.
Exactly, yeah.
That's really cool.
But that's the basics of it. I know there's more stuff. I gotta go find my notes.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to read it.
But that's a lot of it.
I'm bummed about what we're gonna get. So thanks.
Yeah, no problem. But I don't know. I always thought that was a cool start. But I just thought the kind of religious zealot angle could be really cool. No, like, why is it dinosaurs in the first place?
Because dinosaurs are cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's have a real reason for it. I don't know. Like, I was.
No, that's really cool. Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, what's the Raptor clan? There's got to be a Raptor clan.
Oh yeah, naturally.
I'm excited to see all the different dinosaurs that there would be.
Yeah.
Like, who gets that stupid little dinosaur that's like a chicken, but he has like a rhino that just rams into things? That's what they worship.
That is an entirely defensive clan.
It's one of the Dino Thunder like
shields on the Megazord.
It's
yeah.
Like the one that punches. Mm-hmm. So we could look.
Well, who gets compies? It would be like a bunch of tiny Zords that you can't even see.
They're like the nanobots of Zords. Just swarm around you.
But anyway, we're at about an hour. Anything else about Power Rangers you want to talk about?
No, I don't think so. I'm sure we'll do some more Power Rangers stuff this week, but I don't know if we'll do any more videos. But I'm trying to think.
We wanted to make sure we did something about Power Rangers.
Something Power Rangers, and Morphomania will return. We promise. Someday, in some form.
I'm excited to finally get some of that pitch out.
Yeah.
I was a little scatterbrained. Like I said, I don't have my notes with me. I wasn't planning on doing this, so I was like, do I remember enough of it to talk about it?
Yeah, look it up, man. We'll write the script. We'll do a dramatic reading.
Oh, that would be great.
We could do an audio.
Yeah, I thought of that too. I just don't know how much interest that would be, or how much interest people would have in that, and how conceited I would look if I just started like putting fan fiction out on the channel. But I've thought about it. I don't know. If there's interest, you guys let me know, because it's the thing I would be willing to do if people didn't think I was too full of myself for doing it. But,
yeah. One thing we could talk about real quickly is we're still hoping we can go to Power Morphicon this year. I still have my suit coming, and do you want to tell what you're thinking about?
I'm between two.
You can ask them. Let us know what you think about this.
Yeah, I am considering doing the Andros out of morph suit from space.
Yeah.
So his
silver
like
jacket.
Yeah, basically his like Starfleet uniform, for lack of a better description. And
would you get a wig? Would you get a blonde wig?
I might go all the way.
Yes.
I might go crazy and just
Everybody
go get it done.
vote in the comments that Cap should get a wig. Well, what's the other one you're thinking of first?
Well, no, I don't mean a wig. I mean I might go all the way.
Oh my! You might blind your hair and grow it out.
Yeah.
You have 8 months to grow it out.
Yeah. I would consider it.
6 months.
Be insane.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean it's part of the reason I haven't cut my hair yet because I'm trying to decide if I want to grow it out or not.
Yes.
I'm
on board. Everybody else is on board.
I don't have the right thickness for it. Like it wouldn't look right because my hair's
your
too
hair.
curly.
I was like thickness.
No, my hair
is not a thick hair.
My hair's too curly.
Oh, okay. Well, you can straighten it, especially if it's long.
Yeah, that's never worked in the past, but I could try.
One thing.
And then the other one I was thinking about was the Green Ninjetti suit.
Oh yeah, that's really cool.
There's a website where there's a costume place where they come up with a green one.
Yeah. My friend just bought a black one.
It is cool.
And they're not that expensive, like $60.
No, it was like the suit I saw was like 120 or something.
Yeah. And that looks good because it's.
I think with the boots.
It's easy to make.
No, you're right. The actual suit itself is like 60 or 80, but then you gotta buy the boots. Yeah, they're like 40.
You don't want to walk around all day, just with no shoes on.
Yeah, and they're cool because they got the toe.
They do. They have the ninja toe.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So yeah, vote in the comments. Should Cap? One is a bigger commitment than the other.
One is a much bigger commitment than the other.
Should Cap be?
No, that's gonna look really stupid.
Space Ranger. I think it would look cool. I mean, you have white hair, man. That'd be awesome. You said you want a conversation piece. Conversation starter.
Would be a conversation starter, yeah. But you know, like once I did purple, I feel like I could kind of do anything now. Like nothing's.
Well, this wouldn't be subtle.
No, it wouldn't.
No catching the light on this one. It would just be.
That's true.
You'd have to shave your beard.
Yep.
It'd be a whole new look. Would you get contacts? You have problems with contacts.
I have problems with contacts. Yeah, that's true. That would suck. Having to wear glasses. I don't know. But anyway. Yeah, leave your comments about that. And tell me what you thought of my pitch and if you think I should do pitch videos or even like fanfic audiobooks. I've thought about it.
Yeah.
I've thought about it. But I don't know what it is about that. I feel really conceited doing that. I was like, no, I can do better. I've thought about doing it with Smallville. I've thought about writing my Smallville.
Because there's no budgetary constraints, obviously.
Mm-hmm. I also thought once about doing a Spawn Smallville parody called Spawnville.
Spawnville. That's not the. It doesn't sound like something that wouldn't be in Spawn.
where Clark Kent goes to hell and makes a deal to see Lana again, and then. And then he comes back with kryptonite blood. He's got kryptonite psychoplasm.
The audience that you're reaching is
the intersection.
The smallest audience you could possibly.
Yes, but
Spawn fans and Smallville fans.
No, sir. People that watch Spawn Year and like listening to me complain about Smallville.
Okay.
There is at least
there's some crossover there.
700 or 800 views on those videos, I think. But it's not a thing anybody would have watched when I started, but I think it's possible there's an audience for it now. Anyway, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this really loopy topsy-turvy video. This is what I'm like in the morning. And
I woke him up this morning super early.
Yeah, he was like, let's go make a video.
Let's go chop some wood.
Fine, God, yeah. Let's go chop some wood. That reminds me of a scene in Generations that you don't know about. Anyway, well, everybody, thanks a lot for watching. We sure appreciate it. And we will see you with more stuff soon. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm DJ.
Bye.